Take two.
Okay. Yeah, we screwed up take one. What do we say?
As far as you know. Maybe we did 99 takes.
Right?
You wouldn't even know.
No, you wouldn't. What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Waters, and welcome to No Less Metal. I have with me
TROG,
and we are doing 1974, and we have the top 25. When we actually have 25, we don't have 25 plus 30 honorable mentions.
No. We got it down to 25, period.
In order.
Yeah, in order.
In order.
And it went together fairly easily. Not bad. We got a couple slots that have double albums because of they did two albums in 1 year, which never happens anymore. And if they do, people look at them suspect like they rushed them or something.
Yeah. So, yeah, 25. It's pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is we actually came to the conclusion fairly easily and quickly together.
Yeah, I think we were tired, too. We just didn't want to belabor the point.
So anyhow,
yeah, I don't care. Whatever.
Basically, they're all great. They're all great albums, but we did cut out some stuff that we both enjoyed.
We cut out a lot of proggier stuff that was just didn't feel like it.
Yeah, I cut out Genesis, The Land Lies Down on Broadway, Nectar. What else? We cut out a few things that we really liked. Quite a few.
Yep.
April Wine, Argent. There's a few ones. Slade.
Yeah, Slade. We didn't have it on vinyl anyway, so.
All right.
None of that stops us before.
Number 25
is Rant Funshine It.
Rant Funshine It.
The first 3D themed cover I remember. I can only think of one other one. It's Voivod's Outer Limits.
Yeah, with
it has a 3D theme. I'm sure there's others, but I just can't think of any. I already opened this in take one. I'm not going to do it again. But the glasses are built right into the cover. The whole thing, including a poster inside, is all the 3D motif. And
it was just cool as hell. It's a great packaging.
Two big hits on here. Huge hits were Shining On, the title cut, and Locomotion.
Locomotion was huge.
The others are basically deeper cuts, but I would say this is a solid album. It's probably their second after they split ways with Terry Knight, who produced all their early stuff that really made them superstars.
Yep.
The production's not quite as heavy.
Right, it's a little cleaner.
A little cleaner.
That's what we were talking about last time. A little cleaner.
Yeah.
Not a bad way. It's just different.
Yeah.
It's just it takes away. It's not quite as heavy because of the production.
Right.
Even though the songwriting is pretty much Grand Funk.
Yeah, pretty much the same. I mean, Locomotion was probably their poppiest hit ever.
Yeah. And
it was an old 50s dance tune by Little Eva, I think, was the original, something like that. Fit them perfect.
Massive hit for them.
And they didn't really change it all that much either.
Yeah. And they were a huge band. It's a huge band in the early 70s. And I
think people forget.
Yeah, me too, because you don't see it anymore. I mean, you think of a band like Led Zeppelin or Aerosmith or any of those bands from the 70s that are still huge. Grand Funk were selling out stadiums, yet now they're just kind of forgotten about.
Yeah, and I think that super early 70s era, there's a lot of bands that fell into that trap, that they didn't continue to put out consistently massive records.
Right.
And I think it's true. Other bands kind of slipped in and took the limelight. Yeah,
like Kiss and
Kiss and Zeppelin, like you were saying. And
well, it was really two waves. I mean, you had that whole, European wave, which Grand Funk are an American band, but we're part of that wave.
Enough so that they named the title of the album.
But they were part of that wave, and that wave got overtaken in the mid '70s and through the late '70s with a huge wave of American bands.
Yeah, yeah. So you're not going to really anything from early to mid Grand Funk stuff. You're not going to waste your money. It's good stuff.
Good album.
Very, very
great packaging. Very worthwhile. Yeah. All right, number 24.
24.
We don't usually include these kind of albums in our.
Yeah, it's a twofer. Well, it's not a twofer. I'm sorry. This is a.
It's just not one we don't usually include these kind of packages, but it's Alice Cooper.
It was just such. It's a
monumental album for me.
There are some greatest hits packages that just go beyond, and they just become essential.
Yeah, and that's what this one was for me. And when it came out, I mean, when I bought this as a kid, and that's the thing. When you're a kid, you don't have as many records. I mean, you have 10 records, and you play them over and over and over. And this is one of those ones I played over and over and over again.
This doesn't have all the deeper cuts that you appreciate later, but it really is the best of the original Alice Cooper group, as far as the hits and the most successful stuff. And the album packaging
is fantastic.
Oh my God! It was done by Drew Struzan of
don't you have the
of Pacific Ioneer, same guy who did Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, and later on, more notably, the Star Wars original movie posters. Whoops, that's upside down. Yeah, this is a reissue gatefold of the entire painting, which is just gorgeous.
That's fantastic.
Oh yeah, they don't make album covers like this anymore. This
it's got that whole what's the time period on here?
It's like the gangster era, 30s or 40s.
30s and 40s, yeah.
Yeah.
And you got the Alice Cooper group in there with Humphrey Bogart, I think, is on here.
Yeah. Marilyn Monroe makes an appearance. Groucho Marx is on the cover. Yeah. And this is all stuff that Alice, admittedly, he was into all this Americana type stuff. You got gangsters on the back cover. Clark Gable's there. Yep. I think there's a picture of. I think it's mostly like actors that
I'm
play
not sure
who parts.
Is that Marilyn? I don't think so.
No, Marilyn's on the inside though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Alice Cooper greatest hits. Oh, the songs. I'm 18. It's My Body. Desperado. Under My Wheels. Be My Lover. School's Out. Of course, I'm 18 and School's Out were massive. Still are.
Hello Hooray,
Elected.
Nice guy. $1 Billion Babies. I mean, those 4 tracks alone were from the $1 Billion Babies album. You know.
Teenage Lament 74 and Muscle of Love.
Yep.
And the thing about it is like, I'm 18. School's Out. Elected. Those songs they still play on the radio.
They're huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cooper still definitely is. He's still making the rounds, and he's still doing stuff. I mean, he lives here in Arizona. He's still very active musically and
closed his restaurant
socially. Restaurant's closed, but he did open up a youth activity center that's kind of cool. I've never checked it out. It's called The Rock.
I've heard about it. I haven't seen it yet. But all right, number 23, and I'll let you talk about this one while I get it.
This one might as well be a greatest hits package all on its own. Bad Company. Arguably one of the greatest debut albums ever. Just about everything on here is familiar, if not overplayed, on classic rock radio.
Yep.
Side 1 pretty much reads like greatest hits.
That's
Can't Get Enough, Rock Steady, Ready for Love, Don't Let Me Down. Side 2's got the title track, Bad Company. Way I Choose, Moving On, Seagull. It's a short album, but it's just solid all the way through. Iconic cover.
And a lot of people don't know that this is actually a supergroup.
Yes, it had members of Free, Simon Kirke and Paul Rogers, the drummer and drummer and singer. Boz Burrell was from King Crimson, and Mick Ralphs was from Spooky Tooth, I believe. So it really was a supergroup.
It was a supergroup, yeah. It was a big deal back in the day, and it became a big deal.
This is on Led Zeppelin's Swan Song label, which is another kind of notable thing, and cover is by Hypnosis.
Yep.
And it's not one of their more complex ones, but
very simplistic, but yeah, it's iconic.
Yep.
Very iconic.
Great album.
Sometimes simple is better.
A lot of times, yeah. Unless it's just stupid.
Alright, what are we on here? Number 20, let's see here. 22.
Great album.
Jethro Tull?
Great album. War Child.
Yep.
It's got the cool negative image on the front. Actually, I've taken that image and I've reversed it. It doesn't look nearly as cool.
Yeah, it never
it looks kind of weird.
It never will once to do that to it, but yeah. I mean, we were talking about Jethro Tull earlier, off the camera. We were just talking about just one of those bands that were the nice, perfect mix of progressive
or technical ability and artistry.
Exactly.
Their stuff is technically brilliant and it's artistically beautiful. The other band I mentioned was Yes. Yeah. Those 2 bands to me they're just great examples of that.
And I put Genesis in that group too, but
anyway. Yeah, I'm not as big into Genesis as you are. I don't think.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if there was any huge hits on here.
Skating Away on the Nice and New Day. That was a pretty big one. And Bungle in the Jungle.
And I always liked the back cover.
Yeah.
It's kind of bizarre. Just like nuns and clowns.
It's kind of like Live Evil by Sabbath. It's got, like, that's the War Child. He's skating away on the Nice and the New Day. With Backdoor Angels. With the Queen and Country.
Yeah, that's it.
It's just... they've got the guy in the pith helmet, Bungle in the Jungle, that kind of stuff. It's like Live Evil. They got characters of all the songs.
I mean, the front cover is cool, but I've always liked the back cover a lot. So
yeah,
it could have actually been the front cover. I mean,
it could have.
But anyhow,
it could have. It's all pretty cool. I mean, it's just Tull did great work.
This is number 22. This is one almost. I don't know. This is one we kind of talked about whether we should include it or not.
It's just such a damn good
It's a
album.
great album. I don't know, if it really fits in a hard and heavy or not, but whatever.
Well, Skinner to me and Molly Hatchet were the hardest and the heaviest of the Southern rockers, I think.
And Blackfoot.
Blackfoot too. You're right.
Yep.
Sweet Home Alabama. It's it's one of their signature songs.
Yep. One of the most annoying songs ever because it's everywhere you go. I think it's actually the only song they ever wrote because it's the only song the radio plays.
God. and people have ripped it off shamelessly. Working for MCA's on here. That's one of my favorites.
That's
great
a great
song.
deep cut. Yep.
Ballad of Curtis Lowe is a great
Awesome
cut.
song.
Needle in the Spoon. Call Me the Breeze. The whole thing's awesome. It's a great album,
yeah.
and it's featuring mostly the original lineup. Ed King still on guitar, along with Gary Rossington and Alan Collins. Leon Wilkinson's on bass, Billy Powell on keyboards, and Ronnie Van Zant on vocals.
Who's playing drums?
Oh, this was actually not Artemis on this. This was Rob, and I don't remember Rob's last name.
And the original.
No, Bob Burns is the drummer.
And the original drummer for Skinner before their first album was
Ricky Medlock.
Ricky Medlock, yep. Who also sang for him for a bit too.
Yep, and even, well, this is getting back to an RIP from last week, was 38 Special bass player, was one of the founding members of Skinner, and his name is totally friggin' escaping me at the moment. I just paid tribute to him last week's show, and it was the same week as Ginger Baker passed away.
So of course, nobody knows the first one because the other one's more known.
Right.
But like with the Freddie Mercury and Eric Carr thing happening.
Right. But I paid tribute to them both. I played some 38 tunes, and I played a couple of really old Skinner tunes that I didn't even know existed. They had a single in '68, and the band name was still Lynard. And two songs I'd never heard before, but actually were really good.
So they're pre-Muscle Shoals then?
Yes, like 3 years prior to Muscle Shoals. Pretty neat. Skinner, second helping, second album.
And was that with Ricky still in the band then?
That was before Ricky, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was the only stuff that the bass player went on to form 38 Special, which I still feel shitty. I can't remember his name.
It'll pop in your head while we're talking about something else.
It's the only stuff that he actually recorded with Skinner because he was gone by '71. He was gone by the time the Muscle Shoals sessions happened. Oh, I love this album. Frank Zappa, apostrophe. For years I thought this was Zappa's first solo album. It turns out it's his third. It was the third one. Lumpy Gravy was the first one under the Frank Zappa name, and then Hot Rats, and then this one. But this one was probably the most, I'd say it was way more commercially accessible than the other ones were, for sure.
If you can call anything Frank Zappa this commercial.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this comes about as close as it gets, you know.
I guess you had Valley Girl and stuff like that, but that was more of a novelty thing.
Yeah, I mean, this has the Nanook epic on it, which is based, side one is Don't Eat the Yellow Snow, Nanook Rubs It, St. Alfonso's Pancake Breakfast, and Father Oblivion, which is all basically one big suite, the Yellow Snow suite. Cosmic Debris, which is a great tune. Side two, Eccentrifugal Force, apostrophe, which is the title track. Great instrumental with Jack Bruce on 6-string bass. Uncle Remus and Stinkfoot. It's classic Zappa. It really is. Totally classic Zappa. If you've never heard any Zappa and you want to check some out, I would say this one, and then the Mother's album right after it, which is Overnight Sensation.
Yeah, I was going to say Overnight
Those
Sensation.
are great ones to start with. And they're not quite as cutting and cynical as some of this stuff can be. This stuff was still pretty early on and pretty neat. Really, really, really good stuff.
Pretty fun though. I mean,
yeah.
Definitely humorous. I mean,
oh yeah,
intentionally so.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, I'm gonna just be honest. This is a band that I am not as familiar with as Randy is.
Okay.
So I'm gonna.
This one's gonna be a twofer. The actually, what is this? 21.
Yep.
All right. So 21. King Crimson, Starless, and Bible Black.
It's actually 20.
Oh,
it's actually 19. Sorry.
19. Okay. Yep. Starless and Bible Black, but it was one of those years that there was 2 albums out, and Red was the other one. Red kind of carries the distinction of John Wetton being in the band. Yes, he was on Starless and Bible Black too. John made the rounds. He really did. He played Asia. He played with freaking Uriah Heep. Did he play with Yes ever? Probably not. No. But getting back to Starless and Bible Black, I mean, songs on Red, notable ones. The track Red, One More Red Nightmare. Those are, it's a short album. There's only 5 tunes on it, but, you know, they're epic length. Starless and Bible Black. Best tune on here, my favorite, is Great Deceiver. That's the opening cut. It's funny, you know, people get their panties in a bunch over the title. Oh, Starless and Bible Black, that's evil. And I'll admit, when I first heard of it, I was just like, oh yeah, what's the deal with Black Bible, Bible Black, whatever. And if you look on the back, there's a little square, and it has a little text blurb on it that it says, "This night wounds time." I'm like, oh, I get what the album title means now. It's a night that was so dark that it was starless, and the sky was Bible black, like the cover of a black leather Bible. Like, that's fucking cool. Other tunes on here, the title track and Fracture, great stuff. Lament, Night Watch is really cool. Great album. It's about super progressive.
Very progressive.
King Crimson definitely were accused of being like a math-related group, that everything was so perfect and precise. King Crimson toured with Tool a few years ago. Robert Fripp gave Tool the amazing compliment of, "You guys have really mastered your craft." I think Tool gets that same kind of bit about being so super technical and precise and all that crap. It makes sense, and it's quite a compliment coming from someone like Robert Fripp on guitar. King Crimson, Starless and Bible Black, good stuff. 1974.
Alright, so we are at number 18.
Okay. Bizarro Land.
Yes, very odd cover, but
This one's all you.
Uli Roth era Scorpions. Strange cover. It's just, I mean,
It's like, what the hell is it?
we were trying to figure it out earlier when we were looking at it. I think it looks like some guy. The mask he's wearing looks like he should have like a
welder's
torch in his hand.
Yeah, like a welder's mask.
He's got the scorpion on there. He's holding some sort of banner with the name on there, and then he's got feet,
Airplane
feet,
like
or airplane.
propellers.
And then the back cover is the reverse side, and the band's names are on his ass.
It's just like, what?
It's very
Okay.
odd. Very, very odd.
Does it say who did the cover design?
Let's see. We didn't even think cover design. Yeah,
Wandries
in Hamburg.
Got me.
You got me too.
Some
but man, it's
German.
It's a strange one for sure.
Second Scorpions album, first one with Uli Roth on guitar.
And it was the beginning of an era for the Scorpions.
Oh, absolutely.
That Uli Roth era where they brought in that heavy guitar tone and that big Jimi Hendrix influence that Uli brought in with him.
Most recognizable tune on this, probably the opener, Speedy's Coming. The other stuff, it would fit well with Lonesome Crow type stuff. I mean, they were still quite progressive.
It was a crossover record from the first album, which was more, I don't want to say progressive, it was
krautrock kind of. The German equivalent of like kind of this unaccessible progressive kind of movement.
Right. To the more, heavy metal, 70s heavy metal style that they became, especially with the song like Speedy's Coming.
Yeah,
and there's also the title track on here is brilliant.
Yeah,
it's like
that's
a 10-minute song, and it's 9 minutes and 31 seconds. Yeah, it's a long song, but it's just got some wailing on the guitar. I mean, I remember seeing Uli Roth do it as a solo artist, doing it live and just ripping on that whammy bar.
Yep. And the whole flying thing is kind of a theme. That they've got Fly People Fly, they got Far Away, Fly to the Rainbow, Drifting Sun. It's all very loosely related, kind of. And I mean, yeah, the cover's bizarre as hell, but what would you put as a cover? It's like, it's so bad, it's kind of cool,
It's bizarre, but I mean,
you're never going to see it again in a million years.
It's iconic. It is what it is, but yeah. If it would have been the next 3 albums, it would have been much higher up on my list. I love those albums. But because this one was more of a crossover album, it just didn't quite...
It's different.
It wasn't one of the ones I connected with immediately at first. It was...
No.
I discovered the Scorpions in the early 80s, and then I went backwards and loved the Uli stuff, so this one was a little bit odd when I first heard it.
And then this was back when labels would actually work with bands and foster their growth instead of demanding hit records
singles
right now.
Yeah.
The first couple Scorpions, it was like that with a lot of bands at this era. UFO was like that.
Oh, yeah.
The first 2 or 3 albums were very kind of like,
Space rock, huh?
Thin Lizzy was the same way. They had early 3 albums that were very different from the rest of their catalog. So all those guys, they're in good company, and they're kind of in the same grouping as far as I'm concerned.
Number 17, I love this album.
Great
This album could be in my top 10. I like it that much.
Yep.
Robin Trower. Speaking of, the
Hendrix
two
type,
Hendrix and Uli.
Yep.
Yeah, big Hendrix influence here. Anybody says he's a Hendrix clone, I think you're off.
No.
Based, but very much influenced by that heavy and experimental Hendrix guitar sound.
Yeah.
And
whereas Uli was very much that way and fashionably that way, because he took cues from Jimi Hendrix's wardrobe and that whole psychedelic presentation. Not so much Robin Trower, but the sound,
I mean, Uli even didn't he marry Hendrix's ex-girlfriend?
Something like that.
Yeah.
The girl who wrote "We'll Burn the Sky."
Yeah.
basically.
But yeah, let's see what the songs on here.
Day of the Eagle. Bridge of Sighs. The title is a freaking.
Gosh, I mean, it's just one of those albums when
it's classic.
I can't put it on and let it be in the background. I just can't ignore it.
Yeah.
That's how much I love it. It's such great guitar playing. Love the vocals too on this album, and I'm not going to tell you who the vocalist's name is, but was it Dewar? What is it?
Robin Trower. They put it as like that's the name of the band. The name of the band is Robin Trower.
Yeah, it is.
Robin doing the guitars. James.
I'm pretty sure it's Dewar, yeah.
Bass and vocals. I'm not sure. That name sounds familiar.
But regardless, I mean, it's just a great album. It's definitely worthy of being in the top 20 for this year.
And it's a power trio. Didn't realize
it is a power trio. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, that's yours,
much
right?
quicker than usual. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's going to be a half-hour video, and you guys are going to be pissed. And
that's right. Number 17. This one it's funny because we're pulling all these records off the shelves and we're talking about them as we're pulling them out. And one of the things we were talking about is the amazing cover artwork from the 70s that you don't see as much anymore.
Album cover art is a lost art as far as I'm concerned with the advent of computer design. It's not the same. It's not that there haven't been some great album covers, but there aren't album covers like this.
It's different. It's
so
just
much
different
anymore.
Yeah. Anyhow, Loud and Proud, Nazareth. Nazareth were an odd band. They were never always heavy. They were never always light. It was like almost like they'd have a heavy album, then a light album, then a heavy album, then a light album.
Or then they just start to get spotty in places.
Yeah.
Uriah Heep was the same way. They had several classics, and then things cut kind of out of balance, it seemed. I don't know.
But this album is just, this is not a gatefold. I was hoping it was. Because they are actually travels to the back. Yeah. But Go Down Fight, and there's not a bad song on here. Not Faking It, Turning on the Receiver, another great song. Teenage Nervous Breakdown, brilliant song.
This Flight
Freewheeler, This Flight Tonight, Charleston.
And I love Joni Mitchell cover.
Absolutely love their cover of The Ballad of Hollis Brown. It's just,
great song.
It's slow. It's almost doom.
It's a great song.
Almost doom. Yep. And the vocals on this thing, he's just got such a unique style, especially for the 70s.
Dan McCafferty, he's a incredible rock singer. He really always on the mark.
Yeah, and he just didn't sound like anybody else. Nope. I mean, maybe a bit like Steven Tyler, but
a little bit just
because of the screechiness. But
there's nobody that actually I thought sounded like him until like Axl Rose. I thought sounded similar. When he would do his high screechy stuff. And when they covered Hair of the Dog, I was like, rightly so. That's a good choice of cover because Axl can hit that.
Yep.
Or he could. I don't know. Good band. I don't know much about him now.
Regardless, it's not as well respected as Hair of the Dog.
Yeah.
This album isn't.
Yeah, Hair of the Dog. That's another one of those. Might as well be a greatest hits album.
Might as well.
But this was in the same era. It was still.
And it's just as good. It's a great album. It really is. It just doesn't have all the. You
didn't have the staying power and all the hits. Yeah, exactly.
All right, so this one actually almost was on the bottom of our list by accident. But where are we at?
But it definitely shouldn't be because it's a great album.
Great album. Let's see. I don't know what the number is on this one, but number 15. So this is the first wave of British heavy metal.
Yeah. Budgie.
The first wave of British heavy metal.
In for the Kill. This is where the infamous Crash Course in Brain Surgery came from. The Metallica
covered. Yep.
Metallica. There are a lot of bands that I discovered before Metallica, but I got to give them credit for these guys because I discovered Budgie because of them.
And I discovered Budgie because of Metallica as well. Yep. I didn't know Budgie in the 70s, which is odd. I mean, I knew a lot of the other big 70s bands, all the other...
I knew the name, but I'd never heard them until I heard Metallica's covers.
Right. I mean, you knew Sabbath, you knew Zeppelin, you knew Deep Purple, you knew Rainbow, and, all these...
Budgie's one of those bands that they're more on the outskirts, but they're a great band. It was more like they were more like innovators that didn't get all the attention because they didn't make it huge. But Budgie was a great band.
And why? Because they had the songs. I mean, there's no reason that a song like Crash Course and Brain Surgery couldn't have been a hit.
Could have been management. Could have been a lot of things.
Who knows? I mean, they had the big label. They were on MCA Records.
Yeah.
Same label, same year as Skinner.
Yeah. MCA was a weird label. It's almost like their artists kind of disappeared in weird ways. And I can name several that I kind of back that up with, but Skinner, Diamond Head, these guys, it just weird. His MTA was odd. It was like artists got lost on that label or something. I don't know.
This cover always struck me. I love the cover art. I think it's great cover art. I'm not sure if it actually is a Budgie or not.
He's dressed up like a falcon.
Yeah, he looks like a falcon to me, but I don't.
They would do that with a lot of their covers. They put the Budgie in different situations.
Yeah, long songs too. Side 3, Studio One's got 3 songs, but it's a maxed out side. So.
And again, their titles are awesome. These titles aren't quite as long-winded as other ones. Crash Course in Brain Surgery is probably the weirdest one, but you know, when you get titles like Hot as a Doctor's Armpit,
yeah,
In the Grip of a Tire Fitter's Hand, Disintegrating Nude Parachutist Woman. I mean, that's some pretty cool titles going on. This one's a little bit more demure than the other ones were. For some reason, though, Budgie always reminded me of, like, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but like a poor man's Rush. They had a very similar sound. I thought Burt Shelley just had those higher vocals like Geddy Lee, and they had some interesting arrangements.
Mm-hmm. Very.
But much more edgy than Rush, for sure. But they always reminded me of them for some reason.
And earlier on.
Yeah.
Much earlier. I mean, Rush's first album came out in '74.
This is their third or fourth.
Yeah, third or fourth album. So
yeah, Budgie, great band, definitely worth checking out if you never have.
Speaking of Rush,
there we go. Speak of the devil.
And this is their first album. This did not have on it
Neil Peart, or Peart, however you're supposed to say it.
I always said Peart. I don't really care.
John Rutsey was kind of the leader of the band. He initially wrote all the lyrics. And in the 11th hour, apparently he pulled his lyrics, and Geddy and Alex were left practically overnight to rewrite every lyric for the whole album. Really weird story, but they never had any... I never have heard them talk badly about John Rutsey. He passed away a few years ago. I think he had diabetes and had some health issues and couldn't quite commit to the touring lifestyle like they wanted. So I think everything was done very above board, and they remained friends, but the few times I've heard them talk about him, they never disparaged him at all.
I hear a huge Led Zeppelin influence in this album.
Definitely. Probably more so
than any other
else.
record that they did, yes, absolutely. Not quite as proggy, but you still had the long songs. Like Here Again is 7.5 minutes?
Yep.
Working Man is over 7 minutes.
Bigger cuts, Finding My Way, What You're Doing, In the Mood, and Working Man's probably the biggest hit. That was probably the song that got most airplay on this, like in Canadian stations.
What album was Going Ball on?
That was on Progressive Steel, the third one.
Right.
Cool album. It's not the first one I'll reach for, but it's definitely much more than a footnote in their history. It's
absolutely
it's
a great
well
record.
done.
It's very well done.
Yep.
And me too. I usually tend towards, I don't know. Any one of the 70s albums is not the first one I usually pull out.
This is the one I have to kind of force myself to put on and pay closer attention to.
For me, it's one of those albums when I get into a Rush mood and I'm like going through all of them, and then it's good.
Hey baby, it's 7:45. Think I'm in the mood. That's one of the songs on that album. Did you see what I did?
Actually, we mentioned this band earlier too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Number 13, UFO Phenomena.
Can kind of be seen as a debut because of the new lineup, but
also a very much crossover album.
Oh yeah,
I mean big time. And it wasn't all the way there yet. Just much like
this is definitely right. This is the missing link between
much like the Scorpions album we just talked about.
Exactly, because UFO's early stuff, total space rock, almost Hawkwindian, much more blues and boogie based too.
And you have some of that stuff on here, but you also have Dr. Doctor, Rock Bottom.
Two of their biggest, most well-known songs.
But then you have songs like Lipstick Traces and Queen of the Deep, which...
One of my favorites has always been Space Child.
Yep.
And My Oh My is a great one. Too Young to Know is a good opener. It's Schenker. It's not quite as flashy Schenker as would come later, but the songwriting definitely changed here.
You can hear this Schenker guitar fury in some of those songs, like Rock Bottom and
Dr.
Doctor. I mean, it's a classic lineup too. Phil Mogg, Andy Parker, Pete Way, Michael Schenker.
Yeah, another great Hypnosis cover.
Yeah, we were talking about that one too. I always like this cover. It's very simple, but it's just very odd. It works.
They retained the original logo that they were using on their earlier albums, at least for this one. They switched when they hit the next one, but yeah, definite crossover album for sure. Very strong album.
And to me, this is another one of those first wave of British heavy metal bands.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. So, all right, getting back to Going back to Canada here.
Beauty, eh?
Beauty,
This
eh?
is all you.
This is number 12. Child Novelty, Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush. Another Hendrix-inspired guy.
Yep.
Very much Hendrix-inspired, especially on the first couple albums, of which this one is. So you really hear that kind of Jimi Hendrix experience sound on here.
Yeah.
So much so that you've got. I'm trying to remember. I think it's a power trio. I can't remember.
And this is Mahogany Rush. It's not just Frank Marino.
No, this is Mahogany Rush.
Okay.
Yeah. Matter of fact, it's not even Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush. It is just Mahogany Rush.
There you go.
So. Let's just double check.
Just in case you weren't confused enough.
Okay. Gatefold.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it was like Jimi Hendrix died and came back as
Frank Marino.
Frank Marino. Yeah, I just can't remember if I thought they were a power trio, and I just can't remember for the life of me if that's true or not.
We don't have the listing of the artists.
Yeah, I'm just not finding it right quickly. You'd think we'd look these things up before we did the video.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Frank Marino.
We haven't started doing it by now. We're not going to do
Frank
it.
Marino plays all instruments on Child of Novelty, also bass guitar and Plastic Man, and percussion on Look Inside. That doesn't tell me anything.
No, it doesn't.
So I'm glad I read that.
So is it just Frank Marino?
No, it's definitely not just Frank Marino. Oh, here. Yeah, power trio. See, I knew I was right. Should have just gone with
Frank Marino, James Ayob,
and Paul Harwood.
Paul Harwood.
Paul Harwood, who was, one of the mainstays in Mahogany Rush. But love this album. I mean, another one of those albums, like the Robin Trower album that I showed earlier, that it's just like, I can't ignore it. I can't put it on and let it be in the background. It just pulls me in.
So we had Rush, and we had Mahogany Rush.
Yes. Yep. Which one came first?
Do with that what you will.
I don't know which one came first. I'm
I don't
pretty sure.
either.
I mean, Mahogany Rush had albums out first.
Just as Mahogany Rush?
As Mahogany Rush,
Okay.
yeah.
So I guess that answers
doesn't mean
that.
it formed first, but...
Well, I don't know.
And the Rush definitely became way more popular than Mahogany Rush ever did.
True.
But
I mean, I always knew of them, but I never really heard them until you. You turned me on to them.
Yep. Great set. I mean, 70s hard rock, guitar based, like I said, Hendrix inspired. If you like Robin Trower.
Yep.
That's yours.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
Oh, I thought that was yours.
So anyhow. Yeah. There you go.
This is a special one.
It is.
Love Hawkwind. This was studio album number 4. Lemmy is still present. No,
Yep.
they're not. They're going to make me open it up. These first 4 or 5 Hawkwind albums, there's not a bad note on them. I love all of them. And then you get the live double Space Ritual album, also with Lemmy. A bunch of Kodak type outtake shots of the band here. And on this one we got Psychedelic Warlords Disappear in Smoke as the opener. Great track. Love that song. Better Believe It's on here. Hall of the Mountain Grill. Lost Johnny, which Lemmy took with him to Motorhead, and they recorded an early version of on one of their first albums.
Yep.
Paradox is on here. It's solid all the way through. It's that same kind of mantra chanting space rock that pretty much you would know Hawkwind for,
Right,
especially this early stuff.
Yep. That's what they're known for. And the album cover art on this thing is just... I've always loved the album cover.
Yeah, it's like some kind of spaceship.
Something.
The wreckage, like in the ocean or something. I know they were still involved with Michael Moorcock on here. And there's a quote here. And in the grove by gate and hill, midst merry throng and market clatter, stood the hall of the mountain grill, where tables strained neath loaded platter. It actually was the name of a restaurant, and they got a picture of the place right here. Which is like, Hall of the Mountain Grill. Is that a play on Hall of the Mountain King? Well, no.
No.
It's a restaurant. These guys were a trip. I mean, and this is the classic lineup. Dave Brock, Lemmy, Simon House on keyboards, Nick Turner, Del Detmar, and Simon King.
What if those guys knew when they kicked out Lemmy that would actually be a turning point for them? And for Lemmy.
Yeah, I mean, we would not have Motorhead if it didn't happen.
Right. Because I'm sure he would have continued on. He was pissed that he got kicked out.
Yeah, and I heard a story that he went and he fucked all their girlfriends after. I mean, I don't know how true that is, but I heard that somewhere. It's like, I went and fucked all their old ladies. I showed them while they were on tour or something.
That sounds like something Lemmy would say.
Yeah, it does.
All right.